There was 235 people that were picked before me. I won't ever forget that.
Fans from Cedar Park, Texas to Petco Park in San Diego now look up to Chris Paddack. But he looks up to those who taught him Texas toughness and helped him through a challenging childhood and over significant hurdles.
You know, there's zero excuses. You know, you can control what you can control, and one of those things is your attitude. One of those things is your effort.
It was a rocky road from Texas to the big leagues, but his rare talent, his intense determination, and a team of loyal supporters helped him reach the show.
I want to be the best.
First strikeout in the big leagues for Chris. Back-to-back strikeouts for Paddack.
In 2019, a new sheriff arrived in San Diego.
Chris Paddack, Austin, Texas.
The sheriff, Chris Paddack, shares his story in this edition of Spotlight. In early 2019, Chris Paddack got the call, his first invitation to big league spring training.
It was nerve-wracking, it was exciting, you know, didn't really know what to expect. Called my family and let them know that, you know, this is one step closer to chasing my dreams and making it a reality.
Paddack would park where the big leaguers parked, to some symbolic, but to Paddack significant.
That's always like a little joke that you have in the minor leagues. You know, man, one day I'll be able to park inside the gates. You know, I had a goal going into spring training, and that wasn't only to make sure I was ready, but also show that, you know, the front office, AJ, Andy Green at the time, that I deserve a spot in the big leagues.
Paddack, big and tall, looks over the glove, goes into the windup, and blows a fastball right by him.
Paddack, fastball. You couldn't get better location. Unhittable. Wow.
7 strikeouts for Chris Paddack in 3 2/3 innings. He looks very good today.
In late March of 2019, in his final spring training start, Paddack was dominant as he had been most of training camp.
Sit down, swing and a miss, change up, strike 3.
So he was baffled as to why manager Andy Green was headed to the mound to take him out in just the 3rd inning.
He calls the entire infield up, and, you know, he asked Hosmer, he said, "Where are you going to be at Sunday?" March 31st, he said, "I'm going to be playing behind this guy." And he grabbed the ball from me and said, "Congratulations, you made the big league squad. You'll be pitching for us on Sunday, March 31st, 2019. I was so focused on pitching and dominating against the Mariners that it took me a few seconds to realize what he just told me. And kind of once I saw the guys smiling and, you know, getting me excited and telling me congratulations, I walked off the mound and tears of joy just started rolling out.
He called me and he was just overwhelmed with emotion, and, you know, all the hard work he put into his career at that point, it culminated to that, you know, him making the team, and it was incredible.
Some of my family members didn't really understand why I was laughing when I was coming off the mound. But after I got done explaining to them, you know, I just made the team. I'll be pitching Sunday. Y'all need to book your flights, hotel.
Pretty emotional for both of us, and he was so proud and so excited, and I was so proud for him.
By the day before his first big league start, more than 40 friends and family were in town to see the major league debut of the pride of Cedar Park.
We were all outside playing ping pong, and I ordered my large pizza. And they knew that for me, that's my time it's me time. You know, that's me locking it in for those 24 hours, getting ready to pitch. I'm very serious, sometimes too serious, but that's just me, and I'll never change that. March 31st, 2019, something I won't forget for the rest of my life. Walking into the clubhouse suited and booted, you know, having your teammates support you and you know, knowing that the 24 other guys in there have your back, it's a pretty special feeling.
Of course, big brother Michael was there. He was unable to sit.
The most nervous person in the stadium, always, every start.
March 31st, 2019 was a Sunday. As he warmed up in the bullpen, Paddack noticed as the Padres honored members of the military, as they do each home Sunday. It was patriotic, and it was Paddack Day.
When I got done throwing, the paratroopers, here they come flying down at the field. My last pitch in my bullpen, the last paratrooper was holding the American flag, then the national anthem. Then I walked from the bullpen to the dugout.
I'm just like a proud parent standing on the sidelines watching.
I felt like a kid. When you're in the backyard playing wiffle ball with your friends or brothers, and that's what you say, number 59, Chris Paddack.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new sheriff in town. His name's Chris Paddack. Y'all be cool.
Swing and a miss. First strikeout in the big leagues for Chris.
You hear every clap, every scream in the stadium, and they're all cheering your name. It was the first time to experience that, and it was really cool.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Paddack.
You're just hanging on every pitch, making sure that he's in the right frame of mind.
Parra strikes out.
Chris went 5 innings, allowed just 2 hits, and struck out 7 Giants on the way to a 3-1 win. It's the memories from after the game that he cherishes the most.
It was a really cool experience, but after the fact, when you get to soak in that moment with your family, celebrate, the picture that, Matt got to capture of me and my brother and my family, it's something I'll never forget.
A hug with Michael celebrated the long road they traveled as more than brothers.
We've been through a lot together. Growing up, I didn't really have a father figure. He was my father figure.
To see him go to the highest level, and not only make it to the highest level, but excel at the highest level, it's I can't even put that into words.
And that hug, we just got to let it all out in one big squeeze.
So much pride and so much just joy. It finally came out. He finally did it. He finally reached the dream that every kid dreams of, that we talked about so much. It was just, it was incredible.
It's both of our Instagram profile pictures. It's the background on my phone. Every time I look at that, I remember that feeling. Whenever I buy a house in the future, that will be something that is blown up on the wall, and me and him will cherish that moment forever.
Coming up, Chris takes us back to his roots, to some trying times in Texas. And he shares the remarkable story of his first high school start on the mound. As Spotlight, the Chris Paddack story continues.
Spotlight, Chris Paddack, brought to you by Sycuan Casino Resort, proud partner of the San Diego Padres.
Good. I would say half an inch and keep it back.
Keep it back eat, baby. You gotta eat, boy. I like to call it the Texas tailgate.
Ooh,
Texas tailgate right here,
I like
man.
that.
It's the
I like that.
It ain't your average Mohawk. It ain't even party in the back. It's business in the front and unpredictable in the back. It's past the fun in the back. It's just unpredictable. You can't cut the motor. That's where the changeup comes from.
Exactly. So I've only had my driver's license haircut, which is buzz cut all the way around like a 2-guard, and a mullet. My mom told me years back, she's like, I don't support the mullet, but you can actually kind of pull it off. I like being different, and also I think it's kind of cool how trendy it's gotten. Texas tailgate, baby. That's the best.
Good job, baby. Good job.
A haircut is more than personal to Chris Paddack. It's a link to his past, to his mother, Charlotte, who raised Chris and his 2 brothers.
She actually cut hair for 23 plus years. It's not why I have a mullet. It's just it was pretty cool growing up having free haircuts.
Of course, Charlotte provided much more than haircuts. There was food, shelter, and the grit she passed on to her youngest son. As a teenager, Charlotte overcame an aneurysm and had to relearn nearly everything, including how to speak.
My mom had brain surgery when she was 19 years old. She basically had to relearn her ABCs, 1, 2, 3. It's hard to explain without getting emotional, but basically she had to restart her life over from scratch.
On the outskirts of Austin, Texas, Charlotte styled hair and held the family together. She and the boys moved from town to town in search of a better life.
We moved all around, different school, different town every year, sometimes twice. Made a lot of friends. There was more positive than negative. The hardest part was not having a father figure, to look up to. I know that feeling of not having, a dad to kind of teach you the way, and my mom had to do all that. She had to be the mom and the dad.
Over time, Chris's brothers Jason, who is 16 years older, and Michael, who is 8 years older, helped raise Chris.
I really believe that that's why I am successful, is because they got to use the things that they learned as they grew up to kind of teach me at a younger age. So it was almost like I had a head start.
Chris's first position in baseball was decided based on necessity. His brothers needed a backstop.
My brother Michael and my brother Jason, had me all geared up and sitting on a bucket in the front yard.
He was 5, maybe 4 or 5, could barely, you put like youth catching gear on this kid and all you saw was catching gear. You didn't see any part of him. He was just swallowed up.
And, they were just letting it loose. And that little kid geared up, scared to death, put my glove out on the bucket, and, 2 or 3 balls later, we're having a great time as a brotherhood, as a bonding moment.
The Paddack's journey through multiple towns and schools finally came to an end, roughly 15 miles north of Austin in Cedar Park, Texas.
It's like weight was lifted off my shoulders. I knew that I had a place that we were going to be, and we weren't moving again, and I wasn't going to be the new kid on the block.
What he would be came from sitting on the bucket, catching heaters from his brothers.
Fun fact about me is I was a catcher in high school. Kind of growing up through my whole childhood, and even, the start of, my freshman and sophomore year, I was a catcher.
Chris's freshman year at Cedar Park High, he didn't make varsity. Not a big deal. But what hurt even more was that he didn't make the top JV team either.
I remember that feeling of, not making the varsity squad, and you're still trying out, not making the JVA squad, and you're still trying out, and it's like, as a kid, you never want to be picked last, but it's not where you start, it's where you finish, and I'm a big believer in that, and I use that as motivation.
As his game grew better, Chris grew taller, 6'1", then 6'2".
I looked up to Joe Mauer growing up, as a 6'5" catcher, 6'4" catcher. I knew, that was potentially what could have been my height, and there wasn't a lot of, tall catchers in the league, so I only had one guy to kind of role model off of.
Chris had worked on his game so much that by his sophomore year, he skipped right past the JV A team, earning a spot behind the plate on varsity.
He wanted to do everything the best he could. He wanted to be as good as anyone around him, and he drove himself on the field. We knew that he had a chance to be our everyday catcher. And we sorely needed one.
There were 2 moments in Chris's high school career that permanently changed his path in life. The first was meeting senior pitcher Ryan Johnson.
We actually met in the baseball classroom at Cedar Park High School. At the end of the day, it's in 4th period, we would have a baseball class, and then we'd go off to the field and we'd practice every day.
They were 2 peas in a pod. They were country. They were slow walking. If they got a day off, they were at the fishing hole.
The second life-changing moment was classic Chris Paddack because it combined his next-level ability to focus and some help from others.
About mid-season, our big right-hander, Tanner Dickerson, who's a big power-throwing right-hander, he was 90-92. He started having some tenderness in his elbow. Now I got to go find a third starter.
He said, we ran out of pitching. We need you. We need you to pitch tomorrow. Can you do that for us? Absolutely.
His look was, great. Okay. It's like he had known his whole life that, oh yeah, Coach Cochran's going to ask me to start here in the middle of the season against our crosstown rival, Vista Ridge.
And I pitched, in summer ball and select ball and in Little League and all that.
The lead up to Saturday is we played 2 really good ball games on Thursday and Friday and didn't win either one. So here we are. It's the 3rd game, and I'm gonna push out a sophomore for his first start, and we're 0-for in this series. So it's a gotta win. And I walked over and said, "Listen, Chris, normally I call pitches, but today I'm gonna let you and Ryan call the game today."
My best friend Ryan Johnson, to this day, called every single pitch from the dugout.
Chris was looking over from the mound over at me and picking up the signs and then flipping through what the catcher was throwing down until he got that pitch.
And that's no joke. You know, we had fastball, curveball, changeup.
He was good. He was really good.
Because he executed in every single pitch.
And you know, in the flow of a game, you don't really think about, oh, this is a no-no going on here. I mean, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. We win 5-0, and it's a no-hitter. And our team was enthralled with that win.
First guy, you know, I chest bump is my best friend Ryan, just because not only did he call every pitch and I didn't shake him off, but you know, I was a sophomore, he was a senior. He was committed to play ball at Vanderbilt. You know, a guy that I looked up to.
Coach Cochran wisely ended Chris's catching career that same day.
He basically was like, "Man, you're not catching again."
He would make 4 more starts that season, pitching on Saturday, and we won every game.
Very blessed that Connie Cochran, you know, turned me in from a catcher to a pitcher.
That next year, Chris was 12-1.
Former big league pitcher Calvin Schiraldi joined Coach Cochran in teaching Chris the finer points of pitching.
He's actually who showed me my changeup grip my sophomore year of high school. When he realized that, you know, I wasn't going to be a catcher anymore as well, he told me how I need to read hitters, the mind, like how strong the mental side of this game is. It was good to have a coach like him because, you know, he told you how it was.
His senior year, wow. It was an incredible season. I've never had one like it in any pitcher I've ever coached in the 35 years. He went 13-0. He had over 190 strikeouts in 13 starts. He had several games where he had 17 strikeouts. And yeah, we won those games because we didn't have to do very much. Yeah, he threw 2 no-hitters that year. In fact, he threw 2 his junior year.
To Chris's family and mentors, even more important than his talent is his humility.
When a mistake was made, he was the first one to go to that player and pick him up and pat him on the tail and say, "It's fine, we'll get the next one." He never shied away from hard work, and he always asked the question that you wanted a young player to ask, you know, how do I become better? What do I need to do to make myself this much better?
Chris is drawn back to his hometown in the offseason. It's not for the accolades, it's for the support that Cedar Park still shares.
See you, welcome home.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. See you. Thank you. Congrats, we are so proud of you.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Your mama must be one.
She is.
Paddack's high school hitting coach takes us back to Chris's days as a Timberwolf.
He was just a lot of fun, really kind of loose, and just like you see is what you get. He was the same when he was a kid. He just didn't make as much money. You didn't have to babysit him. He was very driven, but he likes direction, and he likes to know what this is going to do for him, how's it going to benefit him, and if it's going to benefit him, then he's going to attack it 100%, and I think you're seeing the results.
One honor that Chris earned at Cedar Park High wasn't celebrated until years later, in 2020, when the school retired his jersey number.
Seeing your number with the last name on the back of a jersey being retired at Cedar Park High School, where I consider home, it's words can't describe this feeling.
He was never bigger than those kids around him. I think it's true. I think it may be overstated in a lot of situations, but Chris Paddack loved his teammates. Loved them.
It's what you dream of as a kid. For all you players, there's no excuse why y'all can't be standing here one day.
That's what drew people to Chris Paddack.
Up next, Chris had big decisions to make following high school. There were a number of college scholarship offers and interest from professional scouts. He explains his choice as the spotlight shines on Padres pitcher Chris Paddack. When your stated goal is to be the best, there is no off-season.
When I have to work out, this is my job, but also this is what's going to make me be elite, be that leader of the clubhouse, bring this team to a championship. I want to be that guy, just like everybody in the clubhouse wants to be that guy.
Target.
Selfie.
This will be my first off-season with Chris. It's the most impressive I've ever seen. I've never seen a human that's that disciplined and dedicated to what he does. Like everything he does, it's obscene how detailed he is in everything. Everything has a purpose.
This is what I do, outside of baseball. This is why we're so high performance and we're elite athletes, is because, this is considered work for us. I love seeing the results, the 4 or 5 hours we put in on a daily basis, to make sure our bodies stay healthy.
The intensity he brings, that's just not something he turns on game day. That's something he does every time he goes to train to go do his job. It's really fun to watch because being around other professionals and other guys who take things seriously, and then watching that, it's a whole different level. There's never a moment where he's not mentally engaged in what he does. So it's really impressive to watch.
Today, was my bullpen day, my first one of the off season, to kind of get me prepared for the spring training, get me prepared for the season. Fortunately, I only threw 25 fastballs today, so like I said, it was just a little tease for what's going to happen during spring training. Meeting Scott Lacey for the first time this year, his knowledge is unbelievable. He's been able to teach me some things on how the body should move off the mound.
You still have to stay square as long as you can. The glove side, when that goes to turn you through, that's what's going to get us that line. But if we try to get it there with our torso, that's when we're going to bounce that.
If I have any questions during spring or something, I can send him video and we'll be able to break down with it. A guy that understands how to communicate with me.
What we try to do is just get as many camera views as possible, both side and back mechanics, just so we can see if there's any difference per pitch to pitch. And we'll use for the ball flight Rapsodo, which just gives us like the basics of how his ball's moving, essentially, really looking at what the spin axis is, what his efficiency looks like. You want anywhere from 80 to 100% efficiency. That's 92. That's really good. So generally, both his fastball and his changeup are very, very high efficient. And that's what we use all the tech for, is just to be accurate instead of guessing. You don't want to guess with people's careers.
True grind has definitely been a big part of my success. I've always been a big believer in if you outwork the guy next to you, you're going to perform better than him.
He's really good. He's just absurdly good. And I say that very nonchalantly with a laughter because it's just technical perfection. It's just everything is just technically in line, and it was really impressive.
We need some horses, and I want to be one of those guys for us and show that this organization and the Padres that, I'm free and I'm going to go pitch every 5th or 6th day.
He's in really good shape. It's fun to watch.
Away from the gym, Michael's role as brother, father, and mentor grew.
He's been there by my side with everything. You name it, we've done it together.
As college scholarship offers poured in, together, Michael and Chris would decide the best route to his dream.
University of Texas was my first offer. That's when I knew that I had to make sure that he was on my visits because, I was overwhelmed, I was excited. University of Texas, people dream of this, orange and white. You know, I grew up an Aggie. My older brother, Jason, to this day still lives in Bryan College Station. And I made sure that I didn't choose Texas A&M because that's what I grew up liking as a team. You know, University of Texas, you know, threw an offer on the table. And what didn't stick with me was they gave me a week to decide. You know, you're talking about a kid that he has to make, you know, one of the hardest decisions of his life in 1 week. It's not enough time. Texas A&M threw an offer out there, and it was one that I couldn't decline.
But before his first college baseball season began, the big league draft offered another option.
My entire life, I knew what I wanted to go chase, and the way I look at it is why not get a head start?
As the 2016 Major League June draft got underway, Chris and Michael were more than prepared.
We were in the living room together with 45,000 pieces of paper in front of us, marking off names and when I could possibly go and answering phone calls, and family was there.
But after 235 picks, no team had chosen Chris.
Pick 236 comes around, and I get selected to, you know, take my game to Miami.
It's not possible for Chris to forget that 235 players were chosen before him, because that fact is etched in his mind and on his body.
You know, there's a few things that happened in the draft that, you know, to this day I'll never forget. You know, and I keep that a chip on my shoulder, and it makes me more hungry every time that I face those teams.
Chris took that chip to the mound for the Marlins, where he dominated in the minor leagues. First in short season rookie ball, then at single A Greensboro. There, in his second season of pro ball, he had struck out 48 in 28 innings and had an ERA below 1. In June of 2016, his parent team, the Marlins, were battling for first place, but they needed a proven big league closer. The Padres wanted Paddack. The Marlins got their closer, all-star Fernando Rodney, and Chris was sent to San Diego.
I didn't really understand if I did something wrong, or, you know, if this was gonna be good for my career, or what was going on.
I just simply kind of tried to be that calming presence for him, you know, and just like, hey, this is a good thing. This could be a great thing. Not only is it a new start, but you got a team that really wants you.
Called my agent at the time, and he basically explained to me, like, kind of calmed me down a little bit and said, man, this is awesome. This is the next step to making, you know, your big league days come true.
He saw that as, you know, I have another opportunity with another team, and I'm going to show the Marlins why they shouldn't have traded me.
As a Padre, at single A Fort Wayne, Chris continued mowing down opponents. In 14 innings, he struck out 23 and had a minuscule 0.64 ERA. But then,
4 starts in, bang, elbow goes out, mentally crushed. That was probably the hardest thing, was being there so short and then all of it go away.
That's all he'd ever known. He's played baseball his whole life. He prepared to play baseball his whole life. He trained for baseball every day of his life. And then one pitch took it all away.
You know, you're talking about a hard time for me mentally. The man who was beside me was my brother again. You know, he never left.
I try to be that voice of reason, like, hey, you can either take this as a minor setback and just have a major comeback, or you can be down in the dumps and dwell on it and ask questions about why me and this and that. And fortunately, he chose to kind of be aggressive with the rehab and be positive. And you know, I couldn't be more proud of what he did.
First time coming to Petco Park, actually. You know, I got to talk with A.J. Preller, and him and some of the front office pulled me in the office and basically said, you know, we're here. We're not leaving you. We're going to support you. We're going to get you the treatment you need. You're gonna crush this. Something I told him is, next time you see me, you know, it'll be because you're gonna put my last name on the jersey. And I kind of just walked out.
Chris had ligament replacement surgery in August of 2016 in Arlington, Texas. He did his rehab work there and stayed with Michael in Dallas.
I just had to be there to kind of usher him forward and say, look, you come this far, like, don't give up.
You always got to find a spark. You always got to look at the positive side because, you know, life's too short to dwell on the negative. You know, you ask my mom to this day, what is her favorite word? It's positive. You know, what can you do today to make sure that you stay positive, you encourage the people beside you, you know, better yourself, but also better the people around you.
That to me is the biggest, most important, vital piece to his career and probably always will be, because that taught him to trust who he is, to live inside of his head with positive thoughts, to be able to push forward every day. And now he's gone through the worst possible thing you can go through outside of a career-ending injury.
Made me a better person. You know, I got to really learn who I am as a man. I also got to realize how much I miss this, you know, how much I love this game.
There was no guarantee he'd ever pitch again. Of course, he did. First in the spring of 2018 at Single-A Lake Elsinore. Then he earned a promotion to Double-A San Antonio, just 100 miles south from his hometown. Friends, family, former teammates, and coaches welcomed him back to Texas.
I had probably roughly 60 to 70 people right behind the dugout in cowboy hats, you know, on my side.
Everyone that we knew was able to come and wanted to be a part of it, and the energy was incredible.
When you're coming in from the bullpen and you see 45 cowboy hats and you know that that's your family, your best friends, old coaches, it's pretty cool. Not only are you doing this for myself, but I'm also, you know, doing it for them.
He feeds off of, you know, the emotion and the energy of the players and the crowd, and he, you know, obviously, as you could tell this season, he's very, very emotional on the mound, and he lets it out.
Always looking to improve in all aspects of his career, Chris began a practice that continues. On his pitching day, he dressed like a pro. He explains that and more as the spotlight shines on Padres pitcher Chris Paddack. During his off-season in Texas, Chris let us tag along as he shopped for the outfits he'll wear to the ballpark on the days he pitches. He calls his look suited and booted.
There's a time and place to joke around, and one of those times is not on my start day. When I woke up on my start days, I want to look myself in the mirror and know that I look good, I'm confident, and that I'm ready to go pitch. You know, I lock myself in. You look good, you feel good, you play good. You play good, you get paid good.
All right, Chris, let me lay down your jersey, and then we're going to look at some different swatches and see what you like. 44 Slim if you have it.
I'm going to go
with this
something
one?
like that.
Okay, cool.
Because I'm going to wear it with a cowboy hat, boots, you know, stuff like that.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we got to represent Texas.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, you'll be on the mound like, hey, that's my suit he's wearing. But well, thanks, y'all.
Zamo, Pete Zamora, you know, my high pitching coach at the time, he got interviewed and said, you know, why does Paddack dress like he's going to a funeral? And he pauses for a minute and he said, he is going to a funeral, he's going to theirs. That's something that fires me up.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good to see you.
Great to see you as always.
I brought some of my hats in. I would love for you to shake
Yeah,
them up,
we'll
get
get them
ready for
taken
the
care of.
season.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris typically wears is like a 4.5-inch brim with a wider crease, you know, a little bit kind of a little bit of a bull rider look to it.
All the hats, you know, I ordered through Dylan personally.
And Chris does a really good job of representing the Western image for us true Texans.
I don't do it for the show, I don't do it for the looks, I don't do it for, you know, be a center of attention and be different. I do it because when I wake up, I want to look professional, and I think that has a lot to do with my success. I like these a lot. You know, like you showed me earlier.
Yeah, something brown, you know, obviously to match
the new uniforms. I'm confident, but also know that I did everything I possibly could to make sure that I'm ready to pitch. Sweet, baby. Brown is back. Brown is back.
Once in uniform, Chris takes some custom fashion to the mound.
Relentless on the side of my glove is just a reminder of kind of everything that I went through as a kid, everything that I went through in rehab, And when I look down at that glove, that's what I remember. Is I want to stay relentless. I want to be the best there has ever been.
9 strikeouts for Paddack.
Chris is also relentless when it comes to achieving the goals that he and Michael establish before each season. It's an annual tradition that began in the minor leagues.
The week before he left for spring training, we actually sat down and had a little cram session. What started out as the goals for that year, realistic goals for him, and then some goals for Christopher's goals, which are a little bit higher than the normal average realistic goals. And every single year, he's almost nailed to the T everything we've established on the higher end of the goal chart. And there's nothing and no one in this world that can tell him that he's not going to achieve these goals.
Up next, Chris recaps the challenges and victories of his first season in the big leagues as San Diego welcomed a new sheriff. We'll be right back. In his rookie season of 2019, Chris Paddack earned his first nickname.
Sheriff. It brings out the Texan, the focus level, being in control. And what made it really special for me was I didn't bring that up. The city of San Diego, some teammates, some coaches, whatever it was, made that happen.
As Paddack proved he belonged in the big leagues, his Petco Park posse grew.
It felt like family. You got your little, Paddack posse group. They're putting the buttons on and the shirts and the team store, and it's something that you dream of as a kid. Having a nickname and having these fans cheering on you and your teammates.
Chris's 2019 season included some rookie ups and downs. In both June and July, he had stretches of 10 days rest, skipping starts to regroup and to limit his innings pitched. The Padres were cautious with his surgically repaired arm that had never thrown more than 90 innings in a professional season.
They're looking out for my best interest, and that's to, hopefully be able to pitch for the next 15 years.
Paddack finished his rookie campaign with a 9-7 record. As he always had, he learned and he improved.
I'm trying to develop that curveball still. It's not where I want it to be.
There's proof of his improvement. In Paddack's final 4 starts, he allowed just 2 runs, struck out 32, and walked just 4. Vintage Paddack.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Paddack.
He finished the season with a 3.33 ERA.
Next thing I know, I blinked and the season was over. Unfortunately, we didn't play in October, but for 2020, that's our goal as a team, as a group.
Having the sheriff be part of that group, patrolling Petco Park for the next decade and more, would be great news for the Padres, the posse, and Paddack. We'll be right back.
Spotlight, Chris Paddack, brought to you by Sycuan Casino Resort, proud partner of the San Diego Padres.
Much of Chris Paddack's life is an intense competition. A welcome escape from that is fishing.
Me and Tyler grew up together for a little bit, and we've always just kind of stayed in contact just because, like you said, we both enjoy fishing. I grew up around it. It's kind of a hobby that definitely got to be patient.
Yeah, a lot of people think that fishing is really boring because they imagine you're kind of sitting there like this all day, not moving. But my boat goes 75 miles an hour. We're hopping from spot to spot. We're throwing 1,000 casts per area. So it's a lot more mental and physical than you think fishing should be. At least bass fishing is, this tournament side of things.
I would consider, casting and reeling in basically like pitching. Man, once that ball comes off my hand, I can't control what happens after. And he just got a fish, folks.
There we go.
There we go.
First one of the day. Made a little bait change, switch, and we got one.
There you go, baby.
Want to give him a kiss? It's nasty. I knew baseball players were weird. We're gonna get you one of these, Chris, because this is catching fish. Oh, hey-o, buddy. This is a thick boy. That one's got some thickness to him. That's a pretty fish. I'll catch those all day.
Yeah.
Boom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. What is this? Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm proud of you. You caught one. Look at you. You got a little squeaker. You gotta hold that one. You gotta make it bigger. Make it look really, really
Wow,
big.
that is a monster.
That's incredible.
That is a monster.
Me and Chris Paddack just out here slaying giants.
Whether he's fishing in Texas or facing big league hitters far from there, it's clear the rigors of big league baseball have not changed the bond between brothers.
We talk every day. I just, try and be a little voice in his ear to remind him, hey, you're not alone. We're here, we support you.
However humble, big league life has changed Chris just a little.
Before this year, he would have flown on a plane just to fly on a plane, but now he's like, I'm not flying unless it's first class. We rag on him a little bit sometimes just because he has kind of become a little more picky about, what he likes and what he doesn't like, but he's earned it. As long as he's the hardest worker in the room and he's humble about it, he's good with me.
All this newfound fame raises the concern of a father in his brother.
How is he going to react the first time he hits a rough patch? His feet are going to be held to the fire.
But there doesn't seem to be any fear in Chris. He knows he's done what he can to improve, and now it's about team.
That's what it takes, is to hold each other accountable, call each other during the offseason, pick on each other, but also making sure that we're doing our work.
All that should happen if Paddack continues pitching as he has, strikeout stuff and pinpoint control. His strikeout to walk ratio is among the best in the game, befitting of his theory on pitching.
Some of the best advice that I've ever gotten was don't get the ball through. Also, Greg Maddox, he said I want my strikes to look like balls, my balls to look like strikes. Sometimes I throw too many strikes. I got to learn that this year, my first year. In the big leagues, is sometimes you throw too many strikes that will hurt you. How do you get your strike to ball ratio down? Best advice I can give you is don't get the ball through.
Well, the Sheriff's got it going on.
With his surgery in the distant past and his arm passing all the tests, Paddack hopes to increase his contribution to the young Padres.
Have the reins off me and let me go pitch. Let me go show the world what I can be and who I am and give my team the best chance to win. I'm very thankful for the fans who support me, who love me. For the city of San Diego, it's really, really cool, and I'm very blessed to be able to, pitch for the Padres.
Humble, driven, focused, and mentally tough, Chris Paddack is a unique touch of Texas.
The success that he's had is no accident. It's just through hard work and determination, and it's something that's been ingrained in him for a long time.
I'm super excited to be a part of this organization, part of this team, because we do have something special for San Diego.
He has big goals, and he's accomplished so much at a young age so far, but this is just the beginning.